Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So today we're going to work on the Moonrise pendant, and this pendant is using some of the beads from my collaboration with Eureka Crystal Beads called the Stonehenge Ancient Runes Collection. So it sold out a while ago and they just got a restock, so they asked me if I would add another piece on to all those pieces we made, and I said of course I would. I'd love it and I'd love to. So here you go. This is the pendant we're going to make today and the necklace. I just wanted to show you, for those of you who haven't seen some of the other pieces we made. Remember this bracelet? Oh my gosh, this was so fun, and came out so beautiful. We did these earrings here. We made, I think we used just about every bead from that collection. Remember this guy, this bracelet? And all these beads are in the collection. And then we did this necklace. So this is the Standing Stones necklace. This I think would have looked great with this drop at the end. So I wish I had done that. I wonder if I saw some of you guys did put drops on it. So here's that necklace. And then finally, I think this is called the Morning Mist bracelet. So this was the wrap bracelet that we made. So we really used so many beads, but we're going to work on this today. And I was thinking that if you didn't want to do the chain, you can put it on a ribbon. You know, lately I'm into my ribbons. So what about a purple ribbon? And I did notice that Eureka Crystal Beads is now carrying ribbons. Now, these are from my own stash, but they have some beautiful ribbons. I don't even know if they're still in stock. I'm going to buy some because I love the option of using a ribbon. All right, so here we go. This is what we'll work on today. So let me clear this off and we'll get started. Let's get a materials list going. So you need that gorgeous 16 millimeter cushion cut stone from the collection, or whatever. If you have a different one, that's fine too. You'll need the Toho Treasure from the collection. I switched it out for this Toho Aiko in a light blue, sort of lilac color, because I just needed some contrast for the video. Otherwise, I think it would be difficult for you to follow me. 15-0 seed bead, 11-0 seed bead, 3 millimeter pearl, 6 millimeter pearl. You need the 3 millimeter fire polish beads from the collection, or any fire polish bead you have. I've got the 4 millimeter gorgeous Preciosa round faceted crystal here. You can use something from your stash as well, or any 4 millimeter I think would be fine as long as it's round. That gorgeous Elite Eureka Crystal Bead briolet drop, stunning. You'll need your wire. Let's see, if you want to wrap it, you'll need the 22 gauge wire. I have a toggle clasp here. You need a stop bead, which I didn't put, which I always forget to put out here. We'll make that the stop bead. Here's a size 11 beading needle. I have a 10 and 12 handy, and I have 6-pound fire line. I'm using a little thinner fire line because we're going through the bead slide. All right. That's everything. If I forgot anything, it'll be in the description box below the video. So please don't forget to click the down arrow or the more, the 3 dots. So much information in that description box. If I have a code or a discount, it's going to be down there. Anything I forgot, anything I want to add. So don't forget to check that description box. All right, let's get started. Okay, let's get started. So thread your needle with about 40 inches of thread. Put on a stop bead in the middle. We'll use both ends of that thread. So I've picked up and dropped down to my stop bead 7 of the Toho Treasures, Delicas, Icos, whatever you're using, and 4 15-0s, and I did that 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 7 of your cylinder beads and 4 of your 15-0s. Okay, I'm going to sew those into a circle by sewing through the first, I'm just going to call them Delicas, Delica after the stop bead, just like that. Some beads on. So we're going to pick up a Delica. We're exiting this Delica right here. Going to skip this one and sew through the next one. That should place that Delica right on top of the previous one. If it doesn't, just give it a little assistance. Like that. Get another Delica. Exiting here, skip the next one, sew through the following one. Make sure that pops up to the previous one. Come on, you. Sometimes they're a little, there we go. Another one. Exiting here, skip this one, sew through this one. Just like that. Then I'm going to pick up a 15-0, exiting this delica right here. I'm just going to sew through the 2 middle 15-0s of that group of 4. So skipping that 15-0, sewing, picking up a 15-0 and sewing through the 2 in the center, like that. Then I'm going to pick up another 15-0. I'm exiting this 15-0. I'm going to skip the next one and sew through the delica. And that will place these 2 15-0s in the corners, just like that. So you're just going to continue that all the way around, putting on your delicas until you get to the 15-0s. You can pick up a 15-0, sew through the 2 in the center, etc. So just like we did. Do that all the way around, and then we'll step up. I'm coming down to the end. I have a few more beads to put on. So here, putting on this delica. I'm going to pick up the 15-0, sew through the 2 center 15-0s like that. And then I'm going to pick up a 15-0, and we're going to do a kind of a step up here in the corner. So we're exiting this, these 2 15-0s. I'm going to skip this guy. I'm going to sew through the next delica, and then the delica on the diagonal. That's going to place my last 15-0 on, and you don't have to pull this tight. Just, make sure it's sort of even tension. This is what we have so far. Okay, this is what it should look like. Now we're going to add some more beads. So pick up the delica, sew through the next delica, this one, another one through this first 15-0, and I'm going to pick up a 15-0, and I'm just going to sew through from this 15-0 to this one, like that. And I'm just going to do that all the way around. Delica. Like so. And when I get to that point, I'm just going to put a 15-0 in between these 2 15-0s. So just do that all the way around, and you can kind of give it a slight pull, but not too tight, and then we'll step up. Okay, approaching the end, so I'm adding that 15-0 right here, and then we need one more delica. So I'm picking up a delica. I'm going to sew through this delica right here, so I get my needle in there, and then the one on the diagonal to step up. Okay, don't pull too tight. Okay, so this is what I have so far. Okay, this is what I have so far. So I'm just going to leave that thread and needle, and I'm going to flip it around to the other side to where I have my stop bead, and I'm going to take off my stop bead and thread a needle. Okay, so I've taken off my stop bead and I threaded my needle. You'll be exiting a delica. You just want to sew through this. You want to get this thread over here, so I'm just going to sew through that 15-0. It's just on the diagonal right there, so I can put some more beads on. So now I'm just going to add a round of 15-0s. So I'm going to pick up a 15-0, exiting this 15-0. I'm just going to hop over to that 15-0, put a 15-0 right there, and then I'm going to put a 15-0 here, so through the next sticking out bead. So really all you're doing is you're putting a 15-0 in between every sticking out bead. Let me make sure that was clear. It looked like it might have gone a little blurry, so I'll just keep going around one more corner with you. So 15-0. And a 15-0, so through every sticking out bead. And then come to the end, and then we'll step up. I'm coming down to the end, so here I'm going to put this 15-0 on. We have kind of a funky step up here in the corner again, so I pick up my 15-0, exiting right here. So I'm going to sew through this 15-0. right here, and then the one on the diagonal. There we go. Like that, to step up. Be easier for you because you won't be trying to hold it in frame. There we go. So it looks like so far. Okay, this is where we are so far. So I'm going to flip it over again. I know I like to flip back and forth. It just works out better this way. So here I flipped it over. So what we have here with the 15-0s is this is going to be the front. So we're going to come back to that in a little bit. So I'm flipping it over, and I'm going to put my stone in so that the corners are in, you know, are where the corners of the, you know, where the 15-0s are. So just like that. Okay, so I think I'm going to put another round of delicas and 15-0s on the back at the moment. Let's see how that works. I mean, sometimes you can get away without, depending on the thickness of your stone, you can get away with it right here, and you can just put 15-0s all around, but I think we're going to need another round. So let's see if that works. And you may be using a different stone where, you know, you might need to add another round of delicas. So I'm just going to keep, I'm going to put, I put the 2 delicas on, then I'm going to pick up a 15-0, and I'm going to sew through the next sticking out 15-0, and then another 15-0 through this delica, like that. And then I'm going to go back to my delicas. Hi goes treasures. And so I'm just holding my stone in right now because it, you know, just sort of in place, because it's not going to stay yet. It's going to be a while before it stays. So here, see how it's kind of flopping around all over the place? It's all right. So then here, putting on another delica till I get to my corner again. And I'm going to pick up a 15-0. So through this 15-0, I'm going to pick up a 15-0. So through the next delica, like that. So you're just going to do that all the way around, and then we'll step up. So I just did my last 2 15-0s in that corner. I came through the delica. I'm going to pick up one more delica, and I'm going to step up right there. So through the delica and the one on the diagonal. And still, it's still kind of funky loose, but don't worry about it. Now all you're going to do is put a round of 15-0s on. So you're going to pick up a 15-0, and you're going to sew through each sticking out bead. And as you go around, it will begin to tighten up a little bit, and we'll also, you know, be working on the front a little more. So all I'm doing here is just adding 15-0s. Just in between each sticking out bead, whether it be a 15-0 or a delica. So you're just going to do that all the way around, and now it's starting to sort of tighten up a little bit. So do that all the way around, and then we'll continue. Just a note, as you go around and put on your 15-0s, you can pull it inward just a little. Don't pull it so tight, you know, don't pull it super tight. You're just going to kind of move it around too much. So just see how I'm pulling in just slightly, just to keep it going inward like that. All right, so get that done and we'll step up. Okay, I'm going to step up now. So putting on my last 15-0, I'm going to sew through this delica and then the 15-0 on the diagonal. And that's what it looks like so far. Okay, you may need one more round of 15-0s on the back. So this is the back. So if you feel it's not snug enough, just put on a, so I'm exiting this 15-0. I'm going to sew through this 15-0 and this one as well, just to pull it in a little bit. And then I'm just going to keep adding 15-0s. I'll do one more corner with you. So here, coming to that corner bead here, I'm going to pick up a 15-0, sew through this one and the next one, just to pull that in a little bit. And then you just do that until the end and step up. Coming down to the end, so I'm just going to step up, picking up my 15-0, exiting this 15-0, I'm going to sew through this one and then the one on the diagonal. Now you're done with the back. That's what it looks like. So you can just sew this thread in by sewing on the diagonal and then, you know, sewing around the delicas a little bit and cut that thread off. And then we will, this is what the front looks like, then we'll continue working on the front. Now we're on the front and we're just going to make that pretty design on the front. So you'll be exiting this 15-0 here in the corner. So all I want you to do is sew through this one, like that, and then this one. And you're going to add 15-0s here. So you're just going to put on 15-0, 15-0, and a 15-0. So you want 3 15-0s on right there. And then we're going to work our way to this bead again. So this bead on this side right here. So to do that, you're going to sew through this one, these two right here, and then these two, so this one and the one on the diagonal. And then I'm going to add the 15-0, so 1, 2, and 3. So do you see how it's going to start bringing it? We're going to start making that sort of little point here. And then you're just going to move your thread again. So through this one, through these two, through these two, and then you're going to add your 15-0s. 1, 2, and then one more, and you're just going to repeat that. You're going to, you know, maneuver through these 15-0s until you're exiting this one, put on your beads, maneuver again, and then we'll continue. Adding my last, that 15-0 on the third 15-0 here, and now you just want to maneuver, you know, maneuver your needle through till you're coming out of this bead now, so we can put a bead here and a bead here. So the way you're going to do that is, so you're exiting right here. Just going to sew through. Just make sure I'm right. Here we go. This one. So just like we were doing before, these two, and then you're just going to work your way up to here. So you're just going to go through these 3. And if you can do them all at once, that's fine. If not, do them one at a time. Like that. And then you're going to add 15-0s again. So you're going to add 2 this time. So you're going to fill in here and here, like that. And then you're going to work your way around to here again, put 2 here, just like we did before. Should I do that with you right here? So, all right, so we're exiting here. I'll just do this one more time. Come through this one, these 2, and then up these 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to do them one at a time. 1, 2, and 3. Add your 2, 1, 2, and then you're going to maneuver your way around again and do that again, and then we will end up putting one more bead on. All right, so just get the rest of this one done, and then we'll continue. The last group of 2 on this round. So I'm exiting here. I'm going to put this one on. Then this one. Just make sure I don't get caught there. 1. And then you want to work your way around till you can add one more bead right here. So you're just going to do it just like we've been doing, but you just have to just sew through a few more beads. So here, here. Now, at this point, you may need to change your needle size. Go down to that size 12 beading needle because you could get stuck. You don't want to get stuck. It's getting really tight there and we have to get one more round on. So if you need to, go down to that size 12 here and then here. So just working around those 15-0s. And then you're going to add a 15-0 right here. What if we could add an 11-0? Just trying something different to see if that will maybe pop out a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, possibly. You can add an 11-0 there if you want to, or just add another 15-0. And then you're going to work your way around, put one here, work your way around, put one here, and then you'll be done with the front. Okay, so I finished the front, took a little poetic license here, and I put a bright gold bead as my last bead, you know, at the point like that. See that? But it's not in the collection. Actually, I accidentally put one here too. So just do the bead in the collection, or if you happen to have a brighter bead. I didn't like the 11-0 there. Also, one other thing I noticed as I was coming around that this space here for the last bead was a little bit bigger than than I wanted it to be. So make sure you're really pulling these in a bit, the beads leading up to that last bead. So, you know, you can always give them a little push in with your needle. You can try maybe a toho there if your space is bigger. It depends on the stone, like where it's hitting and how close, you know, how round it is. And, you know, so play with it if you're having a problem, but I think it came out beautiful. So there we go. So now we're going to do the embellishment around the stone. Okay, let's embellish this and make it a beautiful pendant. So I'm going to do a little stitch and a ditch along the delicas, and I'm going to put a fire polish in the corner. So I want to make sure when I'm putting my beads on in between the delicas here that it's going to match up with this 15-0 because that's where I want to come out so I can add the fire polish. So I'm just going to go back a little bit to about here just so you have a good look at what's going on here. I'm going to come through this delica. Did I say added about 30 inches of thread on my needle and put a stop bead on? I might have, but again. So then we're going to add 11-0s. So exiting here, I'm going to add an 11-0 right here. And then I'm going to add another 11-0 through this 15-0. So you see how I'm lined up with the 15-0 right there? And now I'm going to put my fire polish bead in. So exiting this little 15-0, I'm going to just sew through the next 15-0, picking up a fire polish, sewing through the next 15-0. There's a space there that we created when we made the bezel so that you'll be able to fit that in there. And what I like to do is I just pull both ends for the first one, just so everything stays in place. So this is what it looks like so far. And now you're just going to add more 11-0s. So sew through the next delica in line like that, and it tightens up as you go. Just make sure you're staying in line so that you can get that next fire polish bead in. So here, and then last one, see I'm in line with that 15-0 like that. So it looks like. Put your fire polish in and through this 15-0 right here. Kind of like straighten it out a little bit. I don't know if you can pull from this end anymore. Yeah, maybe. I'm going to put more beads around there, so just, you know, sort of straighten it out a little bit with your finger and just keep doing that all the way around. Okay, I've come all the way around. I have one more bead to put on, which is my 11-0. So here I'm exiting this delica. I'm going to sew through this one like that, and then you can just pop through this one so that we can put some more beads on. Okay, let's move on. Isn't that stone gorgeous? I just can't believe the sparkle on that and the color's so pretty. All right, we're going to do some 11-0s, 15-0s, 11-0s, and pearls. So I'm exiting right here. I'm going to take a 15-0, so you're exiting this 11-0 right here. Make sure you're here because we're putting on a certain sequence. So we're going to pick up a 15-0, sew through the next 11-0. I'm going to pick up an 11-0. I'm going to sew through the fire polish. I'm going to pick up an 11-0. I'm going to sew through the next 11-0. I'm going to pick up a 15-0, sew through the next 11-0. Now we're going to place our pearl, and you can put the rondelle here if you want, or anything you like, as long as it fits right there. Pearl, so it's 3mm pearl, and then 15-0, 11-0, through the fire polish, 11-0, through the next 11-0, just repeating this all the way around, 15-0, through the next 11-0, pearl, got myself caught there, 11-0, you got it. So just keep doing this all the way around till you get to the end, and then we'll continue. Okay, next up we're going to pick up two 15-0s, an 11-0, and two 15-0s. I'm exiting the 11-0 before the fire polish. I'm just going to hop over to that 11-0, this whole line after, but I think I'm just going to be able to get through these two right now. I'm just going to place those right there, and then I'm going to sew around until I get to my next fire polish bead. So right before the fire polish bead, two 11-0s, two 15-0s, 11-0, and two 15-0s. Do the same thing. Just going to sew around all these guys to place those on. And then I'm just going to sew until I get to my next fire polish bead. Like that. I'm just going to do the same thing. You're just going to surround that fire polish bead with the two 15-0s, 11-0, and two 15-0s, and do that all the way around. Okay, I'm down to my last two 15-0s, 11-0, two 15-0s. I'm exiting here. I'm just going to sew around like we've been doing the fire polish, and I'm going to come all the way down to the other end. I'm just going to give you a little option here to do a little bit something else. So here I'm going to I've come down and I'm exiting the 11-0 in front of the fire polish. So this is all done, and you can be complete on this side right now. But if you like, you can sew up through the next two 15-0s. You can skip this 11-0 and sew down through the next two 15-0s and this whole line of beads. And what that's going to do is when I skip it, you see how it pops that 11-0 out like that? So you can either leave it sort of rounded like this or pop it out. Kind of holds it in place a little bit better when you pop it out, but you don't have to. It's really certainly up to you. And then you're just going to sew all the way down again, exit this 11-0 before the fire polish, sew through the two 15-0s, skip this guy, and sew down through these, give it a little pull, and that bead will pop out. So you can continue that all the way around. I'm going to do it because I already started it, and then come back and we'll move on. Okay, this is what it looks like so far, and I think it's so pretty. So we're going to put one more round on the back, and it's just going to be a fire polish and some 11-0s to lift the piece off your skin. And it's also going to be a connection point. So I've added a thread here, and I've come through the delica, this end delica right here. So we're going to use this round of delicas here, here, here. So you're going to come through this delica right here, pick up an 11-0, fire polish, and 11-0. So I'm using the other color fire polish from the collection, and I'm just sewing through the same delica on the other side. Ico treasure, whatever you want to call it. We're just going to place that, see, right in the corner there. And then we're going to pick up an 11-0, and we're going to sew through the next, let's say, delica, 11-0, just till you get to the next corner, to the next one. 11/0, do the next one. So now I'm at that same point. Actually, my thread got, I kind of slipped my thread there, so I'm not going to tighten it, but just make sure that doesn't happen to you. And then you're just going to put the 11/0. I'll fix that in a second. Fire polish 11/0. And you're just going to come over to the next one. Like that. And you're just going to do that all the way around, and what that will do is just bring it up a little bit. All right, so get that done, and then we'll continue. I'll fix my little split there. Okay, we're done with the pendant. We'll get to the chain in a bit. Right now I want to add the briolette, so if you want to wrap the briolette and add it here, it's optional. I'm going to put a link to the video where I show you how to wrap a briolette, and it's part of the ancient ruins. You know, you have you have this bead and you have the wire. I didn't have any more wires, so I'm just going to give you a link to the video, a timestamp in the video called Sacred Ground Earrings on my channel, where I show you how to wrap this briolette. Okay, so you'll just have to, pause, go back, wrap your briolette, and then come back, and we'll add it to the bottom of the the briolette. So thread your needle with a small amount of thread, put on a stop bead, leave enough of a tail to sew in. I'm going to just take my needle and thread and sew through this 11/0 that's on the side of this 3mm fire polish bead. So just this one, and then the two 15/0s after it. Like that. I'm going to pick up a 3mm pearl, my drop, and a 3mm pearl. I'm going to skip this 11/0 right here, and I'm going to sew through the next two 15/0s and the 11/0 on the other side, like that, and just straighten it out. Make sure when you pull this, you're going to pull both ends and you're going to sew these ends in. You don't want that wire sitting on the thread, you want it in between the pearls. So here you're going to pull it, and you're going to make sure as you're sewing your threads in that stays right there, and you might have to hold it with your finger, with your thumb, and it might come out when you sew your first thread in, but then the second one, just make sure that's in there, because you don't want it laying on the thread. You want it in between the pearls. You want those pearls to be holding that ring on there, so it's nice and sturdy. All right, so I'm just going to let you do that. So just sew around, make sure you're positioned nicely, and sew your threads in, and then come back and we'll finish up. A note in case you weren't sure where to sew your threads in. As I came around, I just went down this line here, and I just did a 1/2 inch knot before the pearl. So here, and also I used 8-pound fire line here to add the drop. It just seemed a little more substantial. So here I just did a 1/2 inch knot before the pearl, and I went through the pearl, and you could just at this point sew your threads in. All right, so get that done, come back and work on the chain. And okay, so for the chain on this, I actually used that 7-strand beading wire, and I'll put a link to this in the description box. It's not in the collection, so you can use, if you don't have any, you can use anything you like. I just thought it looked nice using the wire. You can do any chain here. You can do, you can weave around to make something really elaborate. I just thought a very simple chain with just stringing the beads on wire worked here. So I'm going to do that, and you can sort of do whatever you like. So what I did here is I just took that beading wire, okay, and I came through when we put this fire polish bead on the back to kind of hold it up a little bit, I just used that as my connection point. So I want to make sure these are nice and on here, nice and snug. So see, that's where it's attached in the back. And then I added, this is my sequence here, just at this point, first I put on the fire polish to go with this fire polish on either side like that. And then here's the sequence, is 6mm pearl, 11/0, fire polish, 11/0, that beautiful 4mm crystal, fire polish, 11/0. That's going to be, this is what I'm going to repeat all the way down. So here it is again. Here it is again. So that's what I'll leave it here for a little bit for you. That's your sequence right here. Wait, let me just pop that over here. Okay. So after you've added that first fire polished, and then I let them know, here's your sequence. This is just going to be repeated all the way down until it's as long as you like it to be, or to any sequence you like, or any kind of chain you like. So that's kind of how I did it. Like I said, you can do it any way you like. So if you're going to do that, you know, do your wire. I don't see why you couldn't string it just on, you know, a heavier fire line too. So come back, and then I'll just crimp the ends and we'll have a necklace. Okay, so let's just add the clasp on. So I've already done one side here. And then I just want to make sure when you do the other side, you want to pull this a little, your wire a little bit to make sure that you don't have any gaps. And you don't want to pull it too tight, but you want it snug here so that it's not going to gap on either side. So far, I'm just pull that a little bit more. So it's just going to keep going through here, like that. And you know, I always play with this a little bit just until it's perfect, or until it's as, you know, as nice as I want it. So there you go. Now I have just a little bit of a gap. I'll give it a little tug here. So let me just pull in so you can see where there we go. So here is I put on my crimp bead at the end here, and then I went through my clasp. I'm holding it, making sure holding it with the other fingers so that it's not going to loosen up. I'm just going to come through a few beads here. We'll come through that crystal, and I'm going to pull. And you really want to make sure at this point that you don't have any gaps. And if you do, you know, you just want to pull it a little bit more so that you're not gapping too much. I think that's okay. I mean, a little space is okay. So here, so see that? I have it pulled pretty tight. And then I'm just going to take your crimp tool or pliers, which I just have a pliers, so I'm just going to flatten that out like really tight. This is what it looks like. And then I'm going to just clip off that thread like that, and just kind of straighten around a little bit. There we go. That came out great. Okay, let me pull out. So here you go. Here's your necklace. Now, like I said, you can do any ending you like on that. I just happen to love the simple one. So here's your pendant. Here's the necklace. I hope you enjoy the restock of the collection. I'll try to put up another couple pieces. We have so many. I'll add this to the playlist. I do have a playlist that is the Stonehenge Ancient Ruins playlist on my channel under playlists, so you can see all the pieces we made. I think I used the entire collection almost, except for like 2 or 3 beads I used on pieces. So there are a lot of pieces there from this collection. All right, so I want to thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have fun. Hope you make this and post it on Facebook. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.